Hi everybody, it is April and I'm in my craft room, and today we're going to take a fancy fat quarter pattern, and instead of using fat quarters, we're going to use 10-inch squares. I was surfing the web the other day and I found a blog, So She Can, I think that's right. Link is in the description below, may have to click more info. And she had a fat quarter friendly pattern. And I do love my fat quarters, but I thought, you know what? I wonder if I could substitute 10-inch squares instead of fat quarters. Now, the reason that this entered my brain is because if I'm in a big hurry, I don't want to have to cut down fat quarters. So this pattern, I believe, lends itself to using 10-inch pre-cuts and 5-inch pre-cuts. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it both ways. We're going to take our fat quarters, we're going to make some blocks with that, and then we're going to put my theory to the test and see if 10-inch squares and 5-inch squares will work just as well. I have this fat quarter bundle. I have had it for a while. I believe I got it last year when we went somewhere up north to a quilt shop hop, but I don't know that it was called a shop hop. It was all in the same venue, but there were different retailers there, or different quilt shops in that venue, and they were selling things. And I just loved this combination of the pink and green. I thought it was more of a black, but it really is a pink and a green. So these are going to be my fat quarters. You need 9 of them. There is a caveat to the 9 fat quarters. I found that the way my fat quarters were cut, at least some of them, that I didn't have 18 inches across once I straightened out the sides. So the cut calls for cutting 4 9-inch squares out of your fat quarter. So here you've got your fat quarter, you cut 4 9-inch squares, and then a 2.5-inch strip if you want to have a scrappy binding, which means that from here to here needs to be 18 inches once you straighten your sides. So you may need more than 9 fat quarters if you run into the same issue that I ran into. So this fabric line is Mademoiselle by Jessica Mundo for SPX Fabrics. And then for my background fabric, I have this really light pink, and I think it really goes with my fat quarters. So out of the pink, or out of your background fabric, if you're going to use the fat quarter pattern, you need 4 3/4 inch squares out of this. So here are your 4 3/4 inch squares. You're going to have 9-inch squares. These 4 3/4 inch squares are going to go on opposite corners of your 9-inch square, kind of like this. You can mark them with a pen, or you can fold them in half long ways and just stick your iron on it for a second so that you have that crease. And you are going to sew on each side to make something that looks like this. Your final quilt is going to look something like this. For my 10-inch squares, I have a layer cake by Riley Blake called Tie-Dye. I chose a white on white for my background fabric. There you go. So you can kind of see the snowball looking or it looks, I guess, a little bit like snow. I don't have any white squares on hand. At least I don't think I do. I need to go check that. But you could use 10-inch pre-cut squares, 5-inch pre-cut squares of background fabric, and then you don't have to cut much of anything other than after you sew your corners. By the way, this is Fresh Fallen Snow by Maywood Studios. So it does look like snow. All right, I've got my little Go Baby, all hand operated. So let's drag it over here. Okay, I have my fabric cut. Let's see if I can lay it across here. Oh yeah. That's, yep. All right, let's see if I can do 2 strips at a time. Let's see what this baby can do. Put my little mat on top. It is amazing how easily this goes through the machine. Let's see if my 8 layers work. I mean, you'd think it's a workout in a quilt, but it's not all that much of a workout. So now I will cut the rest of my strips and be right back, and we'll make a block with 10-inch squares. Okay, I have my 5-inch blocks. Now, unlike my pink, it didn't have a right side and a wrong side. This particular pattern does. So I'm going to have to be more careful on how I place my fabric on my block or on my 10-inch square. Because if I don't do it right, I'm going to have to rip a seam. We'll be doing the same thing with the tie-dye block that we did with the 9-inch block. 1/4 inch to the outside, to the outer corner of your block. You'll have some half square triangles left over. Okay, are you ready for the big reveal? It's essentially the same. It's just the same but a little different. I am going to finish making my 10-inch blocks, and I will be back to show you how to put it all together. You can see here is my quilt on the design wall. So now what I'll do, I just arranged these in the way that I thought looked best. So I'm going to sew all the rows together, and then we'll see how this turns out. So here is my finished quilt. I like the way it turned out. I like that there are like arrows going either way. It's a fun, kind of light, airy quilt. It is a square. I haven't decided if I'm gonna do a border or if I'm just gonna put it together and then the binding will be something fun. I also think I will use this as the backing. And it is a Minky that I got at Hancock's Fabric when I was at the Paducah Quilt Show. So whether or not you use fat quarters and 4 3/4 inch squares, or 10-inch squares and 5-inch squares that you can use pre-cut, this is a really fun quilt. Thank you for stopping by. Have a great day, eat some chocolate, and be kind to everyone. Until next time, bye. you're still here, I have kind of a little sneak peek of what's coming up in the next video. I found this panel when I was at Hancock Fabrics at Paducah. And then when I went to Colorado, I went to a quilt shop and I found the charm pack that goes with it. So I have something special that I plan on doing with that besides using some pre-cut stuff. So stick around and that video will be coming soon. I have some unboxings to do as well. Bye. And today we are going to take a fancy fat quarter recipe, blah, 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 blah. And today we are going to take a fancy fat quarter, oh my gosh, I cannot remember the word, pattern. Ugh. She has some different pieces. I'm having trouble. To make 2 sets of 9-inch. Okay, I have an hot flash. Dear Lord, I hope I cut that out. We're wide enough to get the 9.5 inches, not 9.5 inches. Oh my goodness. How many times did I mess that up? Then you want to determine, is that clear as mud? Probably not. A Riley Blake. That's helpful. Called tie-dye. Shocking